Teofimo Lopez is going to get banned after his latest Terence Crawford racial tirade. Is Teofimo Lopez having a breakdown? Let's talk about that in this video. Teofimo Lopez gives another interview where he talks about Gervonta Davis and he talks about Terence Crawford. And he uses the N-word again, and he makes it very clear to me that he is jealous of wealthy, successful black athletes, and it is bothering him that he is not who they are. But as a result, he is going to be stubborn, say things that are going to isolate himself from the people he needs to work with, and he is going to get boxed out probably from all these promoters because he is what I would call an idiot. But before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. Let me welcome you back to this fan page. And thank you so much for subscribing. Hit the subscribe button if you've not. And thank you guys so much for your super thanks. Because you better believe the things that I say make boxing establishment very upset. Even the boxing establishment that parade as organic boxing fans. Now, let's get into this. Teofimo Lopez was one of the most exciting young fighters in boxing, and he had one of the brightest futures of anybody in boxing. When Bob Arum first brought Teofimo Lopez onto the scene and gave him his developmental fights and gave him all of the publicity that he needed to be successful, Teofimo Lopez shined. Then, like many people, Teofimo Lopez apparently got a little taste of the big life, and it went to his head. So Teofimo started playing games and talking about J-Lo and how he was going to make all this money that he wasn't making, how he was this and how he was that. And he played around with Bob Arum and tried to position himself in a way to get a ton of money out of Bob Arum for a fight with George Kambosos, right? For a rematch, for once he had beaten Vasily Lomachenko and he was at the top of the world, a pound for pound fighter. He got funny with Bob Arum and put this whole purse bid situation together where the fight, he was supposed to make all this money going over to Triller. What happens with Triller? Triller can't afford it, so it falls apart. Teofimo Lopez gets kicked back and Bob Arum won't pay for the fight. So Eddie Hearn pays for the fight. And Eddie Hearn has Kambosos, Teofimo Lopez fight Kambosos, and then Teo loses. Now, Teofimo Lopez was then caught in a situation where he had isolated himself from his promoter because he thought he was such a big deal. But clearly he wasn't good enough of a fighter to overcome any type of problem in a ring that may come across him. So if you take him at his word, he went in there injured or he went in there sick, whatever the case was, he lost. Then he got another comeuppance, right? Looked bad in another fight. Then he looked good against Josh Taylor. Then he looked bad again. So people are not really buying Teofimo Lopez, right? So Teofimo Lopez, I guess because he feels that he needs to get attention that people weren't giving him, he needs to take a route of being extra salacious and start using the words like monkey at black people. First time he said it, I was like, okay, Two monkeys. What is that? The first monkey didn't want the banana. I'm okay. Well, I know what that means. That's actually an African proverb. But I know he's a little suspect. But okay, I'll keep an eye on it. So he does it again. And this time he does it again. He does it again. This is the third time he's on an interview. And he says about Terence Crawford that Terence Crawford, right, and Gervonta Davis is not this, they're not that. That he uses the N-word again, even though he does it with the N-I-G-G-A, but still, with the track record you have, ain't nobody trying to hear it, right? But again, why is he doing it? I think he's doing it out of desperation because he is now frozen out of his own, for fighting for his own belt. Teofimo Lopez is in a lawsuit with Bob Arum right now. The same guy that gave him a chance again to put him on, gave him fights. But what did he say? I've never earned that much money with Bob Arum. I've only earned $800,000 and I've earned over $1 million one time. Look, crybaby, there's a lot of people that have never, ever, ever earned $800,000 in a night, let alone $1 million. So boo-hoo. People are not tripping on that. The fact of the matter is, you said you were making all kind of money. You were the top. You had J-Lo. No, bro. You tried to get over on Bob. You tried to play slick and it backfired. And now you're going to need Terence or Gervonta to give you a fight. Okay, now, if Gervonta gives you a fight, bro, it's going to be the weight class is comfortable with him and you're going to get knocked out. Okay, because Gervonta is not going to give you a 35, 40 pound advantage. Just not going to give it to you, right? Or I know it's probably not that big, but whatever. He's not going to give it to you. And Terence Crawford's just not going to give you the fight because you're talking crazy. And if you did, and he's definitely not moving down to 154, and he's not going out of his way to do business with you, no, because you can't pay for the fight. So the whole thing is humorous to me, man. But the idea that Gervonta Davis and Terence Crawford are the ones that are these really terrible people living in this unreal world. Look, bro, Terence Crawford can get the money Terence Crawford wants because Terence Crawford doesn't lose. At the end of the day, dude, if Terence Crawford had lost, Terence Crawford would have been out of there. But Terence Crawford is the coldest dude in boxing in that ring, so he's not out of there. He can keep doing it. Y'all trying to be Terence without being Terence. And you're not a draw, so you can't be Gervonta without actually being Gervonta. So, Tio, stop pretending that you're somebody else. Be the person that you actually are. And when you actually behave like the person you actually are in the situation that God intended for you to be in, then you can be successful in that scenario. But you're never going to take somebody else's prize from them if that prize is intended for them. That's why when you set your goals and if you make them, you're happy. But if you don't, you say, hey, man, I tried my best. But at a certain point in time, some things are just not meant to be. Some of you boxers, 99, matter of fact, all y'all but one or two, or none of y'all gonna be the face of boxing except for maybe one or two. And that's your lot in life to not be that, but it's their lot in life to be that. Sorry, you can't fake it till you make it with everything. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in that comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.